teams already expecting you by Launchpad. And another team too, Team Falcons. Man, there is so much to say about Team Falcons too, because not only are there fans
down, Vicky, this is a team that you certainly can bet on. Now, they don't have the ring information right now. That's pretty crucial, but you know that they're good enough to get that man scan here over at Stormcatcher and then make a very valid prediction about where it's going. They can infer that it is somewhere towards Launchpad just by looking at everyone who's already posted up here.
The man Jeebus.
So it's just changed so much. The Nitro Gate, we're
I'll
truly
talk to the man
all
Jeebus.
the way down to
Sub Xena.
That's on the outskirts of where that zone is pulling in. Crazy Thieves with a lot of pressure on this team. They can perform in scrims, but this is where it really matters now. Take out that energy that you've been able to pick up off of boot camp, the prep talks that I know Nicewig has had with this team, as he's been so passionate with his faith in these individual players as well as the rest of us.
I'll talk to
Tony's gonna be able
Jeebus.
to get a scan, get some information, because there is a team right around the corner. It's probably the fight for the Evil Harvester, honestly, because Team Falcons are also right there by Stormcatcher. That is also very close to Team Nemesis as well as Shopify Rebellion and Flat.
I mean, the other thing you got to remember about game ones, Vicky, these days, though, of course, is that
Yeah, I hear you there, Xena.
actually pick up those Evos now, right? So,
Yeah.
ideally, you should be fighting less.
I don't fucking trust a thing the government says at all, so.
In pretty much the rest of the series, because
Cheers.
you can pick them up in a much less risky way, right? You just fly the drone over and hopefully, you know, it doesn't get sniped on the way in. But in that way, it's actually quite easy to get to purples. You can really zoom around the map quite a bit with that. That said, actually, this is definitely a stat we should go and pull up, is the time to purple. I'm sure that has gone down, or sorry, increased quite significantly since we took Tridents out of the game.
I like that, actually. This is why you're stats man, Gino. And now talking about, like, not only just numbers here, too, but with the inclusion of costing...
Fucking Jesus now, have you seen what they did to my country? All these fucking Islamic fucks in here, dude. Just like shitting in our fucking water, raping people, fucking breaking and entering, stealing cars. This shit never used to be like this.
Before navigating away. But yeah, I bring up Caustic here too because being able to get to that next zone procs that passive as well, so you get to have even more armor. It gets even better if you have the over armor perk too. So Verhos and the rest of Crazy Thieves, noting how many teams are coming out of Stormcatcher that may want to take a roundabout position into rotating.
They call the police on your brother? Damn, bro, that's a rough one.
To make sure that they could try to gatekeep this.
That's not good. That's not good.
And I like that you called them individuals before, because I think that's some of the tension in this team, isn't it? Because we know that all three of them are incredible individuals.
Yeah, all the fucking little baby rapers.
The question with them has always been, how will they work? How will they gel as a team?
All the kid eaters.
All got a trophy in the cabinet somewhere, but do they have the potential together to get another one?
Talk to me, Xena. What's going on, bud?
It breaks my heart, man, with the way that
What's up, zombie?
Conversations with Jen's dad too, and he's got so much faith. He knows what his son can do, and of course with the talent that that team has. But I like the way that Falcons, you know, are taking their time and planning their next rotation here while they are still in zone.
Chilling, bud.
Knew that Crazy Thieves was around that.
I'm alive. I'm alive.
AG Global get eliminated. Our first team out of this lobby with our Red Bull first strike. You talk about holding it down and how you want to be able to hold this bottom side of things.
I'm alive.
Now we get to see Bubble Boys and Full 11 also looking at this fight.
Yeah, no, I love that actually. This is probably the sort of second best staging ground, as we do see Crazy Thieves going in. Drone does get eliminated. Let's have a listen in with Crazy Thieves.
Absolutely. Never keep behind him, okay? I'm dead. Stay slow. Yeah, I'm dead. Right, walking for it. Cut him. Yeah, so on top rock, top rock. Cut him, check. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, no one. Close squeak. One taping you. Get dead. Get the kills. On your bottom, bully.
Oh, that takes a rough start.
Oh, good.
It's all good.
What happened?
Oh no, you hear them
What
like
happened?
the side. What I love that's what you hear from Phony too, because it's like,
Yeah, it's
how
difficult
long
living
is
with
this?
people,
You
man.
know what is even more important to highlight though? This right here, the fact that Falcons stayed alive after we just saw a 3P opportunity where they
punched 3 holes in the door, eh?
Crazy Thieves originally on the outskirts of zone. They took their time to
Dang.
put out circle damage. Now they bring back one, but unfortunately they do not bring back Guild. It's just a little too late to get that death box res, but they stay alive.
Dang, bro. I'm sorry to hear that.
Not confident in hearing those comms there from Crazy Thieves. CG go next. Again, match point format's also a very different look as Huss are looking
So, you know, how old are you, bro?
aggressive here. This is the fight that we were seeing on the southern side of zone, not the rock that NIP was holding, as Buckle Boys do get eliminated. But while this fight is
You're like
happening,
20, right?
originally,
Like 22 or something?
he is within the vicinity between dinos.
This isn't a fight. This is a Royal Rumble here as we got 4 teams who get into it.
Gotta be alive. We all gotta be alive. Alive and well.
The pajamas, by the looks of it, they tried to go a little too far into zone, especially considering they were only a duo.
Yeah, I'm 30 basically. Oh, okay, okay. Shit.
And now dinos are on their
That's
way
old
to
me.
us, but we've also got
You're about to be
Nemesis
44?
on the top looking at Shopify
Dang.
Rebellion. That's a scary team for anyone to come up against, but especially with Albraleli now the only one left alive.
It's just crazy to see how a lot of these teams after
Dang.
be able to make this rotate. I mean, this goes hand in hand with a lot of these circle pools as Albraleli keeping that dream for not very
29 with
long.
30
Team
this year.
Nemesis
I feel that, I
finally
feel
got
it.
eliminated after a very tough
You're a year
road.
older than me then,
This is
eh?
the collapse that we were expecting when we saw a zone pool like this.
Unk.
Flat
Unk.
against the wall, they picked up
Yo,
some-
we gotta get one and only KB to meet Sean.
And a gap.
The other
So you
40-year-old
might be
man.
the team that is in this next
It's meant to
zone
be.
is NIP, but right alongside them, by the choke of this fight, is also Rocky Sports.
Oh, well, Zero got the kickstart knockdown, but that's not going to do him much good when Panic is the only one left alive on this team right now. We see Sentinels getting the better
But we're
of
here
this.
daily. I feel better at 43 than I did in 20s when all I did was drink and do drugs.
Little bit of a heal.
That's totally understandable. I've actually started working out, watching my macros.
Who finally took a bit of control of the southern side
I'm gonna
of
be
the
ripped.
zone here.
I was actually like had food poisoning earlier this week. So this week kinda got fucked, but I'm gonna be getting jacked, pun intended. Either way, 57 agility. There you go, gains, bro, gains. Fucking yeah. I mean, shit. That kind of sucks about your brother. Is he in jail right now?
Throughout the season here, gonna be able to finally get that rotate, but also
Wonders for your mental. Yep.
GD Gaming, who are gonna be on that.
That's like the endorphin rush and the dopamine rush after the fact.
We're holding Shopify. Eventually,
Feels like I'm high.
taking their time because they're seeing the chaos happening right in front of them. The skies are congested with all these crypto drones too. EMP for days. The choke fight starts happening between Rock and JD Gaming, and Nice Guys may get involved here right behind them. That's not very nice of them here, but that's something that they want to pick up some of these points as JD Gaming now move in, floating, who is in popping off, wipes out Rock Esports.
Not able to hold off the #1 team in the region right now.
He got told to pay for the door. Dude, he's pissed. He got told to pay for the door. Dude, I can already tell your brother is just pissed, bro.
Where is this void passage going? Right on their heads. If he dumps his caustic on right now, Nipper in so much trouble.
This fight isn't worth to take though right now because they
Throw
were
your
taking
fucking ult.
over here and they
Why is he throwing his ult down here? He should have just threw a couple barrels.
But Flat
Like, what is this team doing?
They get the two-piece at the same time.
What
With
the
one member left,
fuck
they're
is
trying
this
to
team
navigate
doing?
away, and Flat have to get the full reset because they know at least they have some
I didn't
time
even
to
play
recover.
this game and I
Team
know that
basically
was a
needs to
bad
collapse
play.
on them.
And Ninjas in pajamas, they lose it. They lose Godspot. And now it's Vision.
I smoke weed after the
The zone
workout, not usually before.
It's all about taking space. In these beach zones, it's really about playing big, being aggressive, and trying to put teams on the back foot before they can
What's up,
even
Jam?
get a sniff of you. That's why Ninjas in Pajamas lost their position. They're not playing Altar. As soon as they dropped to the low ground, they lost any kind of priority they had in that fight against Flat.
Getting overzealous there too, and Nice Guys are the next to get eliminated here. JDG not giving an opportunity to any of these squads.
Someone that wants to fucking kill their whole family, bud.
Sliding in, floating. A wonderful story of this player. One of my favorite players to watch, honestly, and his journey in the ALGS from New Orleans here, and how we were able to see him do. Which are
Look like your ranked teammates? Yeah, seriously.
EMP now coming down. Team Vision.
Me too.
Follow up immediately afterwards to talk about the portal play. It's a staying on the high ground together with the altar, and with an R9 and Kraber in Carter's hand, another crack comes in, followed up by the last knock, and they're gonna be your game one winners. Team Vision. They see the vision and take the dub.
Beautiful stuff. It's really those fights at the southern side of the zone there, Vicky, that was so important for Team Vision. They waited. They bided their
Go,
time.
motherfucker,
There were
go.
a couple of teams getting into it. We had the Royal Rumble down there, but Vision didn't.
Bro, look
put
at
their
this
hands
fucking
too
nerdy ass
early.
looking team, dude.
Honestly,
Holy.
been, a little bit of a
That's-
calling card.
Look at this kid on the right. Dude, I fucking paused it by accident.
Of Zach Mason.
That kid on the right was like
Just, like really
something
crisp
else.
calls, really
This guy
crisp
worked on his
calls that,
posture.
you know, not getting too greedy, not getting too aggressive, just walking that sort of tightrope between finding good spots in zone, but also being able to take out teams when they need to.
And that's why they rotated over to their POI of Launchpad, which obviously, you know, it is a lot closer to their POI, but notice how they took a roundabout rotate going from the south side and still contesting the teams that were collapsing on one another.
Apex is a nerd game. For sure, it's a bit
Looking at the fact that Team Vision not only secured the 12 extra points for getting
big
first
nerd
place,
game.
but 7 KP in their pocket. Even JD Gaming, we were talking about them before, still getting a good amount of that KP themselves. And then you look at the later half of this lobby where some teams not as fortunate when it comes to these zone pools and getting gate capped to the 3P opportunities that come in when you have information or you get EMP griefed and you can't really situate yourself in a building, unfortunately falling flat
Dip on
here.
that
But
bitch.
it's been great to see this upper half of teams now starting to popping off.
Couple of big names there at
Quickest way to level agility.
Listen, Vision, you've got JD Gaming, and you've got Flat. Those three teams have
I don't know,
some
bro.
very interesting stories.
Just do
Flat is a
the,
team I wanna just briefly mention
fucking
when they won
rooftop
their
courses.
match day, and I believe this was match day 7 or match day 8. We talked to
Uh,
Nano, and he said, I wanted to take what people were doing and look at where they were just following a trend and then shift that so we could do something better for us. He felt the Maggie was actually somebody he could lose because they didn't need to counter what was not really a huge dominance of Gibraltar in that meta. So how can we fit another legend to better support us? That's the type of mentality that is against the grain, and I really like this team already showing up in game one. Team Vision 2, Zach, I mean, the return of Zach Mazer, that's been a conversation with Loader and Carter. You have to say there's a lot of skill here. It's just, can they put it together? But Zach sees the vision. They obviously grab this one here, and it's a matter of taking great pieces and making them even better, making them from elite to just basically on top of the mountain. It's a tough thing to do, but Zach has finally got enough experience, and I think the right system and people around him that, if not now, win. But really the team, Vicky, I kind of want to dive a little bit more into is JD Gaming, because for me, this is a team that when you break down what they've done, you mentioned the story of floating. Staynati and Shubi have been here for a long time, but floating coming in and having this level of impact, showing he's not only able to get to this level, but stay here and perform well, it's very rare to see. This is a team to keep your eye on today.
It's why I really loved the circuit that we had available for us in New Orleans. It gave the opportunity for a lot of these up-and-coming players that may not have had their time in the spotlight to showcase what they got. And who knows, Ray Day, you know what this makes me always think about, because you know how I am when it comes to bridging the community and the competitive scene together, is how many hidden demons do we have waiting in the shadows to come in and shine some light here in the Pro League, shake things up like the way floating has on JD Gaming.
You know, that's a great point. I mean, the Open, for what it was in our history of the ALGS, and it was a new and a unique take, it certainly gave us these little moments that now clearly had an impact. And maybe if it's just one or two stories from it, we still keep talking about it and the opportunity there. And there's a lot of esports that do opens, you know, an EA cousin and Madden. They've done an open every year for their championship series, and had a few couple of good years hosting that. It's been a lot of fun to see who can come out in terms of talent. Floating, though, certainly fitting in with Staynati and Shubi. We talked a little bit about Staynati. You know, I asked asked him about his family. He really didn't say. He's like, nothing really. I'm just doing my job. It's really no big, heavy thing. But he's like, I would like to get my mom and my sister out to Vegas. So we're hoping that they can keep this up, not only in Paris, but keep the energy rolling that way. Gino, I mean, if they can do it, this is going to be kind of a new era for Stay Naughty and Shubi too, albeit at a different level than floating. They've been here before. But they're kind of fighting for this different level of excellence where it's like, yeah, we're pros, but can we be winning pros? Can we be the pros that people are looking at like, we're behind you, we need to catch up to you?
Yeah, have you ever really gone into a LAN and been, looking at them as the trendsetters, as the team to beat? No, not really. And, as well, you were talking about floating back there, and we've seen a lot of up-and-coming players, right? Like Cersei, Sacred. We've already talked about them today. But I don't put floating in the same conversation as them. I genuinely think he has, like...
Place called Dragon's Nest. Go there, dude. It's way easier.
More complete than some of those other players, in my opinion.
And one of the things is taking direction and learning. Naughty did comment on the fact that floating is able to kind of mesh really well and really easily. And you're right, there are these other elements besides just raw aim and shooting and having tons of potential. It's can you fit, and can you fit right now to get the job done? JD Gaming off to a great start, but Team Vision take the win in game number 1. Guys, it's time to get to game 2 and see if it continues.
Yep.
Alrighty, thank you, Rain Day. Already going over to Olympus. Once again, like I blink and Storm Point is over for our first game, Genome. I really like the way that a lot of our teams fought to try to play into that end zone. It was a little volatile for the squads that didn't get that early rotate. But now as we go onto Olympus, we say goodbye to Crypto. And I'm interested to see if we're going to keep up the trend and say goodbye to Valkyrie next, perhaps.
Yeah, look, the air traffic controllers are breathing a sigh of relief. Or maybe they're not. Maybe now they have to deal with the supersonic Valkyries instead of, just the drones flying around. Yeah, something like that. Either way, we are, of course, going map to map. We've got 3 here in the regional finals today. Start off in Storm Point. Now it is Olympus, and next we will be going to E-District and then all the way back around. So having a look at... our map over here, I do like obviously central POIs all the more now that we're going without Tridents. So things like Terminal have had a massive pickup in points per game.
That's interesting too, right? Because we also saw the problem with some teams that have had to make those rough rotations, whether it be utilizing, like, without having to overextend with the Crypto drone to pick up the Evo Harvester and to get those safer rotations, but with no more Crypto in the mix. You gotta talk about the top legend compositions that we have been able to see once some of these legends are out of this rotation and being able to actually utilize the mobility that Axel brings together with bunkering down with the Caustic. But this is after just match number 1 alone.
Yeah, we've only had 1 match, and of course, as we generally see in the Americas region, people don't branch out all that much, so we can see only 4 different compositions between all 20 teams. It's kind of rolling the clock back a little bit, right? Back to when there was a solidified meta, there weren't legend bans, and people just pretty much stuck to what they knew. Now, as we get further and further down the series and into, deeper into the legend pool, we will see this branch out.
Yeah, and you know what? While we take a look at the different legend compositions and we transition over onto Olympus, I'm being told that Jayhawk actually had some words here for Crazy Thieves, making a tweet. I'm thinking Thieves in 7. He added the phony. That is a throwback, by the way.
It's a fucking scary picture. Looks like that motherfucker's gonna shoot up a bunch of schools.
Okay, hold on, because now it's gonna be not Vicky Vents, but it's gonna be Vicky Spam, because I always be spamming, honestly. And let me tell you, back in the day when I was able to do Esports Arena, some of the players that I was exposed to, Phony being one of them, I remember the hat, I remember everything. I remember Skittle back in the day too, Verhulst obviously, for the real ones that have been here for a really long time. But yep, I mean, Thieves in 7, well, they better have one heck of a game going into game number 2, because they just fell down in 19th place. And Phony, that gentleman over there with the nice fedora, just asked what happened. So hopefully they're able to figure that out before...
know, I was even just when you just brought up ESA there, it was kind of making me think about some parallels between Verhulst and Floating, right? Because when he came up in the ESA team, Verhulst, of course, like they suddenly became like one of the best teams in the world, and at that point he was just this sort of fresh, young, new controller player that not a lot of people had seen. So who knows? Maybe Floating will join up, and or maybe he'll be taking a title with JDG and the boys soon, and that's he can join Verhulst on that podium.
You know who else I have to bring up here too? We got to talk about Nice Guys, another team that needs to have a Cinderella story of a pop-off moment, who are currently sitting at 47 points before diving into today, because some familiar faces, if you want to talk about OG names, you know what? We got to talk about Nocturnal, who is coming back up to the plate and trying to slot in together with Sang and Cody.
Hold up. Isn't he a coach these days?
Not
That's
anymore.
what I hear.
He said, I broke through the
defector.
chains.
I see how it is. Now, apparently he was, dealing with some IRL stuff, and now he's, back to being the man in charge, of course, as we know him best. He's
Wicked. Can't wait to watch Nocturnal choke a bunch.
Top threes at LAN, I think, is about as high as he got. And certainly in some of them even went into the LAN being like, you know, maybe these guys are the strongest team in the world. Never quite panned out that way, but Nocturnal certainly has the pedigree. And if he can find that dog in him, the one that pushed the limits like no one else could back in those times, who knows? Maybe Nice Guys can pull off the third out of 4 essentially Cinderella stories across the 4 regions this weekend.
You know what's crazy too? When you talk about Cody and Sang, like we can't like talk about ESA like potentials when you have these two players that played on Team Intel and Team Raze. I'm sorry, it's just so crazy to see how far we've gone within ALGS and to see all of our talented players mesh in together, creating that history. Because then when I think about Nocturnal, I think about, man, that time when they had hit match point, Hotic was their coach, it was Team Liquid, they played low ball World Edge. It's like, we want more of that. We see the potential, man. And they got pinpointed, everyone focused them because they knew that the Loba team was Liquid. Nowadays, though, you use the POI draft to your advantage and looking at the different compositions that you're exposed to in scrims to kind of predict and match the rotations that we've been exposed to depending on where these zone pools are.
Interesting, like how many things that has changed since then, right? I mean, Jayhawk here talking, both Thai and Zipline Mafia came into regional finals in 20th place and managed to win match point to head to LAN. Insane. Yeah, it's a little crazy. So yeah, who's actually wait, where's the let me bring up that stat real quick. Who is our 20th place team here today? Standings from my standings. It's Buckle Boys. Sorry, it was full 11. I'm looking at the, well, we played one game. I forget that. It was full 11. So if we want to keep that trend going, they'd be the other 20th team to take it out, I guess. But yeah, so many things have changed, Vicky. Like I'm thinking about, you know how we were talking about central POIs before and about how they've sort of come back into vogue? And it was, Nocturnal was one of the first people who sort of, valued that and then took it to the next degree by, as you said, playing Loba, and that was purely just so that they could loot faster and make rotations even faster. So they're trying to, take that advantage and then wrench it up to 11.
It's just so much. There's so much history we have to talk about here, guys. And thank you so much for tuning in to the ALGS America's Regional Final. We're waiting to get set up here for game number 2. Once again, we are moving on to Olympus. And while we highlight what's at stake here for the teams that need to have a performance today, Genome, it's crazy to even think about some of these talented players who may not even qualify for their first time at a LAN.
Yeah, that is scary to think about. Jen Burton was talking before, he really doesn't want that to be him. I mean, he got to Sweden. He didn't quite play at Sweden.
Yeah.
Look, qualifying, still, you got to give it to him, I suppose. But
alrighty, well, while we get everything set up here, Genome, and while we reminisce just a little bit, everybody, thank you so much for your patience. We're going to go to a quick break, and when we come right out of it, we got game number 2 on the horizon.
What's up, everybody? I'm Tank, and this is your ALGS Top 5 Plays of the Week. Kicking off your top 5, we're going to Elite Sports Own Dig Vibes. On the Bangalore with some elite play. Fields back for his squad.
I can't see you.
Smokes out. They're holding outside a circle here, trying to pick up some extra kills.
You can play life if you want.
And just a laser beam attached to my man's head. 1, 2, oh my, easy peasy.
My breath.
I mean, one of the smoothest team wipes you're gonna see. At number 4, we're gonna head over to Sleep Theory. On the Octane, with the jump pad, to the sky. Sentinel kick flip connects. Wingman cracks. Back to the Sentinel up top. Yes. Tuck him in and put him to bed. Your number 3 play of the week, it's Timmy. Sliding into a fight. Edge of circle. Gonna have to peel back, getting tagged up pretty heavily here, but he's got a Kraber.
I might be the worst player ever.
2 pushing, naked 1. Flip to the alternator. Slides back out to regroup, and that's a clean double from one of the best in the business. At number 2, we head over to Jaren, who's in a bit of a pinch. Team's down, 1v3. Looking for the dub. Can he take his team to the promised land? Through the portal, here they come. The push is on. He hits his first knock. R99 clean for his second knock. He makes it a 1v1. Here we go. He's got a tick of health left. Oh, and he does it. Pack your bags, my friend. You're heading to Clutch City. Oh my God. Your ALGS top play of the week, and this is one of my favorites of all time. We've got Nerdy, and my man is all-out assault. He knows no retreat, no surrender. Teammates are down, pushes forward to get his first knock. Throws a Nitro Gate out, and you think, oh, looks like he's retreating. No. My man's setting a trap. Pulls not only himself back, but his teammates back, and he laid down the ult. Pops one up to the sky, second knock. Nerdy taking these kids to school, and now he's just got a 1v1 left. And no, he's not going anywhere. No hesitation like the attack titan. Power slides through the ult to pick up the team wipe. Bonus clip, honorable mention from a good friend of the show, Caution. On the Pathfinder. Right off the zip line, Sentinel kick flip. Styling on him in a 1v1. That'll wrap up your top 5. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for submitting your clips all split long. But don't stop. No, we'll be back next split, so please keep sending in your clips, all of them. Your best, your funniest, your goofiest, your quirkiest clips. Send them all. Send everything. And you might find yourself on an ALGS Top 5 Plays of the Week. Remember, I'm Tank, and to check out more of me, head over to @TheTankTV on all socials, and we will see you next split with some more ALGS Top 5 Plays of the Week.
Welcome back, everyone. We missed you. Hope you guys missed us, and we're missing out on wanting the second game to get over here, Gino, because as everything gets set up, regional finals, man, I mean, time has just been flying by. I miss being alongside you and the rest of the crew to watch all the great action that we have here for Apex.
Yeah, look, we had some pretty sick games over in EMEA. Man, that Oirain Axel moment from, what was it, like game 1? That had me going right from the start. I was hyped immediately, and we're getting some similar fun over here in Americas, of course. Olympus, it's coming up. I swear, we're finding the button. Just give me a
sec. Yeah, Castro, start the game. We're TSM, we're Falcons, and we're starting the button now. All right, we got Olympus coming up on the other side of this, guys. And of course, it's important for us to highlight the double E district going into match 3 and 4, which is why we even saw some EMEA teams prioritize their POI draft on E districts, so that way they could try to capitalize and convert it into sponging up more points before we see more teams hit match point. But it's been very tight of a competition after only 1 game alone, Dinum, as we reiterate and watch back on the POI draft that went down for Olympus.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about it before. You know, we've got teams like Sentinels who've been performing very well. They went for one of the earliest picks. As you can see, not a amount of, you know, a lot of priority put here on Olympus. But Sentinels went with a 23rd pick to take out Summers University. And we've seen, you know, quite a few zones pull down into that southeastern quadrant, and that gives them a bit of priority over there. You've also got a little bit of a run up to the Phase Runner, which of course is that giant void tunnel that runs through the middle of Olympus, and it means you can very quickly rotate either left or right You know, a lot of rift zones we saw earlier in the split. That certainly gives you a chance to jump in, get out of the portal, and just land in whatever building is free.
Yeah, and also you get the advantage of like the survey beacon that some teams who may not have that information take advantage of getting a survey beacon and maybe seeing where other teams have congregated if they don't have a ring console too. And seeing how some of these zone pools have worked against a lot of these teams too, whether it be on Stormpoint, even Olympus here, when it's a bit of a trek, which is why we see Valkyrie most commonly banned in these game twos, but it could be a little different like we saw how it kind of shifted away after game number 4, I believe, Genome, over in EMEA, based off of their scrim results too.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of difference between the two regions in terms of those legend bans, and looking at the scrims, what I'm expecting is actually an Axel ban here in game 2. That's what we've seen mostly. It's been Crypto, Axel, Alta, Watson, and then it starts to get a little messier after that, but probably Maggie once we get to game 5. Of course, we will have a minimum of 6 games here. Even if someone manages to take it out earlier than that, Vicky, we do play out the 6 games just so that the other teams get a chance to sort of fairly sort themselves out and, you know, see who gets the most points contributing in the series, and therefore to the end of split results.
Yeah, too, because you have to consider not only do you qualify for playoffs, but there's some money on the line. And by some, I mean that very loosely, because first place gets to walk away with 20K in their pocket. So you want to be able to also secure not only that first place spot, which is very closely contested by NIP, but if you really think about it on paper, the difference between first and second place, Genome, is 5K. That's like a $5,000 mistake that some of these teams could make that could kind of get squeezed through if NIP starts ramping up too.
Oh, you gotta put a dollar figure on it like that?
Yeah, that's the FGC way, you know. That's what you gotta talk about when it comes to the money matches. But it's not gonna be a money match where we take a look at. I mean, it actually is if you think about it. But if you take a look at some of our highlights for game number 1, yeah, literally though, because mistakes like this, it's what could cause you not only land, which could secure not only more of a legacy for a great team, but then, you know, missing out on the opportunity to secure some extra bucks in your pocket. And we get to see some of these teams too having to forcibly rotate over on that south side of zone.
Okay, I just had an idea. Jayhawk, if you're out there listening, next video, you know, if we have the downfall of CRT, we need that comm from the end there of Phonies where he's like, what just happened? But then, like, you know, like you reverb it and you like it, you know, it plays like fire. It's like, what just happened? and then we roll all the clips of them not making land. Anyway, I'm not saying that's gonna happen yet. I'm just saying it would make a good video if it does.
And you know what? And then when they do make it, you get that, and then you put a crown over the fedora phony picture instead. There you go, Jayhawk. We got you on the free content right here. Also, everybody, if you guys enjoyed Jayhawk's tweet, also don't forget to tweet at us at Play Apex Esports. We love to hear your thoughts, especially when you guys get to share your clips with us too, as you saw in our little break of a highlight. And we get to see more of these highlights too from JD Gaming. A big story here for Floating, as we've reiterated so many times too, but it's been difficult when some of these teams, it's hard to see it where, Genome, you are holding the high ground position, you have the advantage in some of these fights, but to give it up sometimes in the ultra portal that puts you on that low ground, sometimes you gotta try to take the fight here. But is it worth it here as we take also a look at Floating stats just after that first game?
4 kills. Nice little start out there for him. Actually, I'm very surprised. Team kill percentage, 67%. As far as I understand it, that's referring to the kill participation? Or is that saying he's got 2/3 of his team's kills? Either way, I mean, we're seeing most players sit up at around, like, I think 80% kill participation, if that is the same stat, when we're looking at the sort of high-performing players on highly coordinated teams that tend to push together. So, yeah, look, it's only been 1 game, but he's got quite the damage differential there after 1.
Taking a look at the Split 1 playoffs for the teams who have already qualified Genome across multiple different regions. You were talking to us a little bit about APAC North and South just earlier in EMEA, and we, of course, welcome more teams within the EMEA side of things. I love being able to see, too, of course, with America's having 12 slots plus that Pro League winner. It's crazy to see already the talent that we're going to have shaping up our land.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Dog Red. I didn't really get a chance to talk about them before, but in APAC South, they had an absolute banger day. They didn't win, but they actually came in second with the most points, and they lost in the final 3v3, I believe it was, against DCG. So, like, they got so close to doing, sort of the Cinderella story. But second place was, like, mathematically so unlikely for them to make it through, but they actually did in the end. So, yeah, just pure grit out from those guys to get through. And I think I also heard they changed their IGL, like, 2 weeks before the regional finals as well. So, Killer Paz, absolute veteran of the scene. Sort of like Alralelia a little bit in that, loves to change input every now and then. Yeah, he's back at land. Good to see him.
Yeah, and you know what kind of goes hand in hand, if you're stressing out any of your wrist muscles here too, trying to find an input that works out for you, and being able to be flexible is important. Oh, do my eyes deceive me? We're seeing the flyby. We are getting into the action, everybody. Thank you so much once again for your patience. Trust me, we want to see the action just like you. And sorry, I must have misplaced my button, or my dog Matcha may have taken it with her when she was doing her airplane ears after she just opened the door to say hi to me. As we take a look at the series results thus far and where it stands, Team Vision just won game number 1 as a quick reminder. Flat coming into the second place finish there too, right behind them. But now we get into Olympus, a change of scenery before we also dive into game 3, where it will be E-District, Gino.
Yeah, don't make me go bring up that find my tweet from, like, I think before the first day of play, where I was going big. I said I am buying in big on Team Vision this split. Zach Mazer, I love how he's playing so far this split. I feel like he's ironed out some of the kinks that led to some of those Mazer moments in times of old.
It's great comms too, and trying to find these rotates as well. But while we also take a look at Dinos and a player that I've actually had within my own games, we talked a little bit about it in the interview. I want to throw it over to Jay Future, where he actually talks about their recent poor performance from the team and how it could go hand in hand with some difficult scrims and a poor mindset.
We got a little bit too egotistical, and we kind of stopped trying in scrims. A lot of hope going on when scrim plays happen, and I'm trying to get my team to more focus on it doesn't matter what the scrim quality is, it doesn't matter what stupid plays the people are making, as long as we just got to be focused on winning the game and getting better every scrim day. So once we can do that, once we can have that Imperial Hal mentality, you just no way go but up.
That Imperial Hal mentality. I liked the accountability that we're also hearing from Jay Future, and knowing, okay, we got a little bit too comfortable and we're not at the top yet, so there's no reason to get too comfortable like that. So we got to stay consistent, especially when you have certain end zones that could be easily won and falling apart. Yanya, we got AG Global stepping up to the plate. Vamonos. With the 3 friends here now going to be able to move up and see how they're going to also try to convert this, because there's another team where we know that these guys have been together, kind of going back and forth, almost like a little bit of a toxic relationship before they're like, oh, you know what, let's run it back all over again, because we miss playing with one another. And even with different changes, they've been able to kind of find themselves back in their stride. But what people don't really realize, I feel like when you take a step back, even if there's been some time that you haven't played together, if it's been so long,
Fucking dropped.
is about to get dropped, by the way, here, that it takes some time to start meshing well together, especially when the meta's changed.
Back in their stride, Vicky. Come on, man. You rubbing salt in the wound there?
Oh, come on. You know how it is. Never.
Striders.
Never.
Poor Striders. I see how it is. Anyway. Look, we got Team Liquid also trying to get involved in this. They see a stray a stray dropped out here, and they do get that finish. So between the two of them, there we go. The Red Bull first strike will take down GK, and Team
Dropped
Liquid now
pissed on.
Dinos. We just heard from them. They're coming out of terminal. And Team Liquid, do they know that they're there? We see Zero taking the portal back and camping it!
No shot. That is so unfortunate. I mean, at least they have Panic that's still alive to remotely get the banner, but we saw the rotate. That was perfect comms from you, Genome. You called it out. You saw them moving up through terminal side. They find Sykes next. It's not like you could even think about getting a res right there. Yeah, good luck with that. Time to play Hasta La Vista and find a different spot to get this res. Hopefully, you can get this next banner if you haven't gone too far, as, again, the altar stays alive and could at least remotely grab the banner.
I thought the other members were close enough to be able to hear if dinos were on, but perhaps they were outside the terminal. Maybe they weren't actually inside it. Maybe it was an Apex audio moment. I don't know. Either way, it has absolutely scuttled Team Liquid's plans here in game 2, and this is, of course, after they only got, what, 1 point in the first game?
Yeah, it was a pretty rough first game for them too. They were one of the teams that ended up falling in the second half. They got 1 point and they fell in 12th place with no KP on Storm Point. So once again, a double donut it looks like here as we're getting set up with more teams making this rotate. I just have to pinpoint another similar zone that we literally just saw in EMEA on Olympus. And it was over by Sommers, where most of the teams were congregated inside the building where you could play like the 3-story high to low ground buildings. But a lot of teams not really predicting it pulling on the outskirts of Icarus, where we have seen it shift over to that south western side, where Sentinels are kind of treading on that border where they could clear out that rotate if AG Global as well as Nice Guys and Dinos don't probably rotate in that direction.
Yeah, I guess the question is, do we see a zone similar to the one we just saw in the EMEA region? Or is it, yeah, as you say, something maybe even a little more westerly than that? Nice Guys. Well, that's certainly not going to help them on their quest for first. It is number 1 or bust today for those guys.
Imagine the pressure, though. AG Global, they've been putting in the work. Actually ran into Nizul in one of my other games here, and it's nice to be able to see how they've been able to keep their hands warmed while other teams now make their way through Terminal. Buckle Boys and Revival. Revival just kind of calling it quits here. They do not like the contention because they could expect the team to come in from behind them, and with Team Liquid getting that reset or attempting to at the very least, they could be on the horizon of a Hammond. Revival looking behind them, as well as Buckle Boys, not kind of deterring from their position to try to gatekeep this, because some teams want that ring console information over by Terminal. Oh, they're coming back.
Look at the rat. Look at the rat. Riley's there. Do they know he's there? There's no Sia.
They don't.
They don't see him. Oh my god! No, he just saw. He saw the ankle. He saw the ankle.
Run! I didn't know Apex was a horror game. Yo, they dipped so fast. They saw a toe of the Watson and said, we gotta get out of here. Yeah, definitely do not take that jump tower. You would get destroyed. Instead, at this point, they just have to start navigating away and backpedal to getting through the choke, maybe through the double portal, up on the high ground. Surprisingly, there isn't a team.
Come on up, little man.
Any of the teams that could possibly come out of a hammer on that side, but it's also not a favorable position to rotate from when you have those middle buildings that have been added into Olympus that Crazy Thieves is now holding.
Oh my god, I mean, Team Liquid, they just want to make it to zone, man. Please, someone let them through, and now they're going to Gravity Engine. They're probably going to run into JD Gaming. Oh god. And you know, I'll tell you something else, Vicky. One thing I have noticed about JDG and why they've done
the door open here.
This split is particularly because of these isolated 3v3 fights, right? They'll be in these positions where they're getting a late ring console, trying to get that zone 3, zone 4 information. Someone else will run into them there, and they're just very clean at taking these, largely off the back of floating, and how much damage he is able to put out if you, you know, don't rein him in.
Yeah, it's scary, right? Because it's like, it goes in again too with why we were expecting the Valkyrie from getting banned, and she's not, because it's actually a tie between Watson and Axel, who are the two most picked legends in this game. And that could also mean that a lot of teams taking note of this want to utilize the Valkyrie later on as we move on to these different maps, especially how important it could be on E-District. We call her the human UAV for a reason. Once you get that perk and you get to scan through the walls to see where you want to land, so that way we don't have those Hail Mary dives that we have before in some of the fights that we had in our very first game. So while they plan their next move and how they want to rotate, they may actually, I was going to say kite back. They see Revival actually still on the choke side. Let's jump into a listening with Team Liquid.
Yep.
Yeah, they're gonna have to slide down.
Close purple armor.
No one's on that south. I'm getting from south.
Pick with you, Panic. Pick with me.
We'll choke here.
Okay.
You pick inside them.
Yes,
Walk out the middle.
yeah.
We're coming with you.
I hear them close.
Look what doing?
Yeah, I'm getting pings.
They blue armor down. That choke.
I'm getting pings on this.
They're inside the room.
Look at the team behind us. We have to hard proud the team behind us. See where they go.
Yeah, son.
They're front over there, guys.
Look big.
I'm going for you.
Come rope. Yeah, I'll have one to you. Okay.
I gotta pick portal.
Cool, fuck you.
Trying to look over you the best I can.
You're the
Stand in the left side.
20 on one. 120 on the altar.
I thought you meant the altar
Yeah.
portal.
Fuck it. Are they actually fighting, Penny Evan?
Yeah, I'm not.
There was one knock, and I don't know if they just ran away or what.
No one's on the left
I'm
side.
listening to
Got knocked on one team.
they're listening to two people talk.
I should be behind us.
The fucking quality of their fucking streams is so bad.
I felt like I was hearing voices in my head. The double comms real quick here too. Of
Yeah, the double
of,
comm.
I believe CRT who were
I went
on
back
the
in time a
outskirts
little
of
bit,
that.
Vicky.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Jen and Zero back together. As it
Right,
should
yeah.
be. Let's get the Aussies, man. Like, is this Nation Cup already? I thought that was later in the year. Okay, yeah, all right.
No, yeah, right. And Team Liquid, though, I do like the decision of what we saw right there. They don't want to get finished, so they took the portal play just in case if they need to recall them. They have the altar portal right there on the
January.
outside of Labs, just so that way they can regroup together.
Slayer.
That wasn't even necessary, right? Because they get the res, they come right back together
Oh
to
my
the
God.
portal. But Revival haven't left them alone. I just have to say, as the zone's closing in, this fight hasn't been done. And Sykes wants revenge, is out for blood. And if you want to take that fight, you got to deal with Team Liquid on the other side as Revival
looking for it.
fall. Oh, and
See,
there's a third
they're
party that we were
pushing to the
expecting.
edge of zone. Yeah, here we go. They're going up here. They've
I
seen
got a
this.
fucking
They
seer.
know
That's
exactly
crazy.
where they are. They are just completely. Really? They're gonna pull back?
Wow.
They had them penned in. They're literally ticking the thermite right now.
Maybe it's because they know that there's still another team holding choke. It is Rock. Yeah, Rock is looking at them. They did look in that direction before pushing, but it's
They can literally just sit on height and
that
shoot them as they come
CRT
in.
don't have an altar. They don't have a portal that they could go back to. They only have the Axle and the Nitro Gate. So if you overextend on this fight, you lose out on your spot that could give you a better rotate. Is that fight worth fighting for when you went down, what, second to last in our first game?
Oh, good question, huh? That's fascinating that they didn't. It felt like that was free KP, honestly. Maybe Godlike would have pushed in behind them and then taken out Crazy Thieves. Maybe that's the case, but I don't know. In situations like that, the more decisive you are, the higher the chance that you can just pull that off. And, you know, without doing that, what are Crazy Thieves left with? Like a tough rotation into zone without the KP that they could have got otherwise?
Sure, but it kind of also showcases like how safe they want to play, right? Just a little bit of fear here, sitting on the edges of their seats as they want to keep this going, where they want to build up that cushion. Maybe if they had a way better match number one, they could have afforded to take that fight here. Godlike get eliminated in your feed, and this is the fight that we were expecting, the pile up, because Crazy Thieves now wrap up on the other side of Rock, but Rock do hold the choke. Easily NIP and JD Gaming could harass them, and Liquid are now in their line of sight. They're stuck on the outskirts of zone. They're getting pinged from the left as well. You see drills for drills. There's that snipe, as we were calling it. Curve was going to be the one picking that up with the wingman for free.
Oh my
In this
God.
economy, we absolutely take those. Team Liquid get eliminated, but this was the hell rotate that we were expecting once we saw the zone closing in. Unfortunately for Liquid, Revival were just keeping them there hostage. That's why CRT didn't want to try to overextend, and now their backs are kind of against the wall safely at the very least on this side of the choke. And if they want to backtrack, they can take a bit of zone damage and go in from the other side of the wrap. But other teams have now made their place inside that final zone, and teams that could look in this direction after hearing that fight are Buckle Boys.
Yeah, they're definitely the gatekeepers right now between all of those teams that were, you know, just sort of struggling to make it in. Crazy Thieves, Rock. Team Falcons is sitting up there with the NIP. It's a pretty heavy hitting north side of the zone right now. JDG as well.
Oh shit.
That's Nemesis that gets stuck in the middle here in the building.
14 squads left, and A lot of these teams now just trying
Duplex
to fight
indeed.
for picking up not only this KP genome, but also for them to have that advantage. Sentinel's even playing on the edge, a knock, the recall here from the altar portals. Rock playing off that low ground.
Bro, I haven't watched Apex in so long. I don't even know anyone on these teams. Well, I still know some people, but like, there's so many new people.
That wingman, Rock. Cersei's gonna pick up Curve immediately right after I said this. Jen Burton also gets taken out. Bang Bang now is wanting to try to extend here and force it back away from the kickstart.
The Maggie pick, I like that on this map. Damn.
Dodges it well, but no. There's enemies at both sides of the game.
Kurev.
Unfortunately, scooting a little too low.
CRT dead.
And we'll go down to the ring. CRT as well. What did we say? It was a cursed rotation. How were they meant to get out of there?
They should just got the KP.
Played for the KP
Yeah.
in the end, but Team Vision always in the smart spot. They're the ones in zone right now, putting the pressure down and doing some damage. Surely this
Fucking that drone thing is so dumb.
And Rock get eliminated too. They at least did pick up 4 KP in all that chaos, so it was definitely worth it for them, but they do fall in 12th place.
Oh.
Talk about Crazy Thieves, they only got that 1 point now. Team Nemesis are the next to get eliminated. This was a pile of coming out of Somers University, all these teams that have predicted this zone to shift slightly to that north side. Now pulling exactly to what we saw from EMEA, over on top of AG Global, who made the rotate over here on the outskirts of where Dinos is also sitting position. Team Falcons, with How Gone though, are also trying to stay alive. They were lacking points in that first match.
Oh shit, he's pissing.
Even with the double tap on the alternator, it's a beam and a dream, because now the third party's among us.
Ooh,
and
jelly.
for Huss.
lacking is the right word. Only 3 points to their names after 2 games is Team Falcon. Meanwhile, Team Vision.
He was too, yeah.
In first, 20.
What you saying, Zombie? How you doing?
Now coming to the 4. 5 kills for them so far in this game, but they've still got so many teams ahead to push out. They clear some, but still, Sentinels,
Shane.
JD Gaming, even Dinos are looking on as a duo. They've got 2 ahead, trying to keep people from reaching the next ring, while the other
Can't
one
complain. Love to hear it. Love to hear it.
And look at this positioning when you have the Gibby available. While there's so many of these teammates now trying to hold that split positioning, as you mentioned, Team Vision looking in 2 different directions as well, looking at Shopify, Sentinels, and JD Gaming right underneath them. JD Gaming finding themselves in quite a pinch. If Team Vision gets overzealous, though, they can find themselves getting wrapped up from behind. Shopify, though, fully send it now as an opportunity when this is just game 2. You want to soak up all these points.
Yo, what's up, Sean?
It's about getting
The Shauner, the Zomber.
to go out. And Vision
What's up, boys?
looking to extend their lead. Your match 1 winners that are currently sitting at 30 points.
But super importantly, the team goes down first. They manage and make sure that they finish their kills before they die, and they end up with 9 kills. Could be important when it comes time to get above that 50-point threshold. The closest to it right now is Team Vision, and they are looking to go.
It was an absolute blast. I'm glad you had a good day, buddy.
The first game. Could they
That's
do
what's
it
up.
again here and go back to back?
That would be insane. Crazy story as they find Sentinels next. They're farming, but it's only up to Zach. He gets slowed down, and he cannot get to cover in time. They shut him down.
Dino.
Third place finish is nothing to scoff at, especially when you are so close to match points. We have to tally everything here, and it's our final 2
Oh wow,
spots.
this team's got so much space.
Dino full 3-on-3.
AG Global, they were the fast movers. They got into this bike shed way before
Mexico,
everyone else
don't
did.
get your organs harvested.
Paid massive dividends, you can see, not in terms of kills, but damn sure in terms of placement points. But now,
Why would he put down the Newcastle wall there? That
armor
doesn't.
at least, you know, they did do so little damage there down to Blues. They're gonna run it at Dinos.
Oh, Yanya. Oh, that looks a little funky right there. J Future just immediately turned on to him, but it's a trade up from both sides. Even Finezo looking behind him now, flying through the tree. You won't get those health bars anymore to try to get them once you get out of line of sight. And then you get the reset for free as they scoop up the dub.
Yo, I'm glad you had a good day though, Shawnee boy. I'll be right back, chat. I gotta take a leak.
Somers University for game
Rocky, you're hilarious. You just love my fucking.
And you just see
You just love my
sketchy
pillow, eh?
games there, how good a Newcastle can be. You can be in the thick of it, in a firefight, and you can get the res off. And not only that, but now support perk is pulling you back into, 100 health straight away. It's just, it's a really quick way to get back into the fight and put pressure on the other team. The Dinos go extinct, but hey, second's not too bad.
That's how you make some fossil fuel, because they're definitely fueling up here if you're looking at the way that they're literally ramping up, Gino. Because let me tell you, Nizul just went crazy there. I mean, he got 5 KP on the Valkyrie, and goes back to what we're talking about, highlighting this team, looking at their rotates, the way that they've been able to step up together, refine that synergy. First place, 7 KP, but you also mentioned teams like Shopify that got a good amount of KP themselves, because once you get to those 50 points, that is the first goal. The next one in a separate game has to be the win. And if you could showcase that you could at least convert a lot of these zone pools into a game win, you could easily be contested as that regional final winner.
As we mentioned, SR picking up the 9 kills is a pretty good effort from them. Pushed them up into 6th spot. Of course, they I think they won their last match day, right? And that put them into a position where it was looking a little bit shakier early in the split, but now they've worked things out, and we know they've got what it takes. They won the Split 2 regional finals last year.
Yeah, and after 2 games alone, here are your current series results. It's been great action to jump from Storm Point over into Olympus, but we have even more to go when it comes to E-District. And if you guys want more control over how you watch the ALGS, well, guess what? We're excited to announce our new multi-view experience. Make sure you guys follow multiple player POVs alongside the main broadcast while you get dedicated HUD overlays. You can even draw on them too, get some information, listen to the comms of these players, and take some notes for your own gameplay. So make sure to check it out at algs.ea.com and log in using your EA account and watch the fight all customized your way. All right. That's been great Apex action already, and we have a lot more to go, everybody. Thank you so much once again for your patience, and we got game number 3 on the other side of this break. Don't miss it, because we got Onset and Gaskin coming up to the plate.
Red Bull gives you wings.
He got kicked out by Connor. Womp womp. Or Connor broke some rules. Womp womp. How am I feeling? Way better than before. I was dying the other day. You haven't played Infinite Warfare in a long time. That's why you're playing it? Attaboy. Attaboy. Good stuff. That's what we like to hear. You'll be back in town in 3 days. Like I said, don't get your organs harvested down in Mexico.
two teams will get out to pretty good starts.
I'm concerned if I casted a game like I'd never casted before. You never really know how that would end up. I just do it super terribly. Yeah, I'm excited though because match 3, you know, we've been able to see a couple of teams start to step up to the plate a little bit here. Some teams we expected to. All Gamers Global, we saw how successful they were in scrims.
Yeah, your profile picture's fire, bud.
But now as we move
It's
into
the
E-District,
lightning.
let's get back on E-District.
Bing, bing,
This is a
bing. See what I
very
did there?
definitive point in the map rotation because if you have prioritized E-District, this is a fantastic chance to keep
You put in some piss clips? What's piss clips?
Following similar to what we saw in scrims as well here for the Americas. So we had Crypto Band in game number 1. Hey, shock, surprise, surprise. You wouldn't have won any money if you were betting against that. And then Axel Band in game number 2. So likely that we're going to see Alter come to the fore here. We know that Alter E-District is kind of her playground when it comes to being able to traverse across some of the verticality and the buildings that we have inside of some of these end games. Take a look at the POI though, draft though, Dan. Talk me through it a little bit because you've been doing your research.
Yeah, we've got to look at Revival because they were the first team that actually picked E-District here in the draft and they picked it as 17th. 16 teams picked Stormpoint before we moved over to E-District. Heights is a pretty good POI to drop at. It's an average of 7 points per game across all regions, so I'm expecting Heights to be a good chance for Revival to get back into things. Also want to look over towards Crazy Thieves at Old Town. Old Town is not typically a...
No one's got struck by lightning, eh? How many times?
Especially if we start to see zones transition to the northern or western side. But when it does stay on the southern side, Old Town is a little bit of a sleeper pick, and maybe it can be what Crazy Thieves need to get them right back into things.
We have dinos on our screen right now, and you're probably wondering, everybody, how did they come up with their team name? Well, our wonderful researchers, the ALGS, are asking the burning questions, and we found out for you.
It was just so rad. I believe Future likes dinosaurs, and he said since it was the first animal to ever exist on Earth, I don't know, he just came up with it randomly, and now we're just dinos. I'm not a hater of it. I do like it, and it's just a unique name to see in Pro League. Just who's dinos, you know? But me personally, my favorite dinosaur would be the Raptor.
Big fan of the Raptor. Thoughts on that, Dan?
I was doing dumb things and it was working, and I had to feel like actual clips.
A quick way, because actually team names difficult to do. At least they didn't go for the typical
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Second letter, third letter. Yeah, so
How Gauntlet about to get easier? What does that mean?
Good in the previous couple of games. As we now look at where that circle's gonna be. What did I say? Crazy Thieves, Old Town. What happens when the zone comes this way? They've got a good chance.
Well, they need something to happen because they have had 2 pretty poor first games that we've seen so far today. Game 1 and 2 did not go well for them. Crazy Thieves, I think, fell in 18th.
Gauntlet's done and over with.
13th in the second, so no points really on the board for them yet. And this is a team who really does need to perform today if they want to make it to LAN, make it to Paris. And it's a long way to go. But it's even
You're talking about doing Gauntlet to get these butterins easier? Yeah, hey, buddy. Nice talking to you.
Great prio. They don't have ring console though down at Old Town.
Nice talking to you.
Having seen everybody flying through the skies into Humbert, probably gave them a pretty good indication of where everybody was going to be.
It's so funny moving from EMEA to
Gauntlet getting easier. You're talking about the the changes.
You wouldn't have seen that in EMEA. In fact, we only
Talking about the changes. Yeah.
Legends selected across the board. Everyone kind of knows the
Yeah, whatever. I don't give a fuck.
in a very similar way.
It's alright. I'm done. I'm out of there.
Go against what everyone else think is the best at the moment. As we check in with
That's alright. I'm fucking out of there. I don't care. I don't gotta fuck with that shit no more. I don't give a fuck. I'm done it.
Yeah, a long way to go until we get back to Japan, of course. We've got a few stops along the way. The Sentinels for now are going to find visions inside of this building, and Blinkster is going to have to hit some flicks and some tricks to try and escape here. They do manage to just about take the bottom floor here, but this is not looking comfortable for them.
No, it's pretty sick for you though. But I just don't give a fuck. I'm done. I'm outie. That was a nasty shot.
They really need to work together. He does manage to just crawl himself in, and maybe they can reset here.
Well, Arbolelli actually got taken down by Kyle, so he was looking to poke him.
Damn, that's actually crazy. They survived that.
It's Vision who are above them.
I see what you're saying though. That's the job, bro. The second day on the job, 7 people quit the fucking job. All the fucking senior people there were like, yeah. And the one guy that was training me worked there for 3 months. He's like, bro, I don't know how the fuck they expect me to train you. I've only been working here for 3 months. So I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But like seven people literally quit the second day I was working there.
Ninth place at the moment. They got 10 points in the first two. But they
I'm
are
retired.
having a lot of success on E-District so far this season.
Yeah, you can see that they got not just one knock. I think that's
Fucking
the
retired.
They were going to take the Nexus AG, the winners of our previous game, to try and escape. Niazo and Yanya are out of there, as unfortunately Jaguares is going to be downed. Looking to probably just secure this KP here, looking if they can find a second here, Ninjas in Pajamas. But this is one interesting composition.
We're learning to get paid more. Well, the reason they quit is because they went and said like, hey, if we're gonna be training all these kids and shit,
Very aggressive composition. No defensive characters really.
we want a raise. And the company was like, we're not giving you a fucking raise. So all these fuckers are like, hey, we're out of here.
Yeah, it's a really odd one, but if anyone's going to do it, it's a team like NIP.
Yeah,
We've seen how
Woody.
they've been able to produce very entertaining matches with a little bit more aggression here or there. And perhaps if they can find that one big game, then they could suddenly be so close, actually, to getting onto match point. No one's really there yet. It's not like we had any huge wins thus far. But we have to start thinking about how many teams are going to get there and how quickly they can get there as
Good
well.
times.
It took us a short while, really, to find a couple of teams onto match point. But then by, match 10, we would have had, 10 teams on there? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, half the lobby.
Good times.
Point, unfortunately, they didn't get to play that match 11 as Zipline Mafia, if you didn't watch, by the way, the team who were in 20th position, just qualified for regional finals, managed to take the whole damn day and qualify for Paris at AWC. So, I mean, incredible performance from them. And I think if you're coming into today in 20th place, you've been given a little bit of hope from what you've seen in APAC and, of course, in EMEA as well. But Team Liquid, they're in 16th place at the moment in the overalls in this lobby, and they're wrapping their way through Old Town.
Yeah, a lot of these teams who were kind of in the area have been able to now find their position. You always get that early battle where teams are fighting for what they consider the best spot, but then you have to kind of take second best or third best, depending on what's happening elsewhere. Sentinels have been able to find a position where they can get angles onto people. You can see Monsoon already in the kill feed.
Good fucking time.
Sentinels are one of those teams that when they do have those kind of positions can be a nuisance to go up against, and it looks like they might be able to convert these, and they will. So full 11 will be eliminated. And remember, when we were talking about teams moving from 20th place to win regional finals, it's full 11 who come in at 20th place.
Yeah, my bad, guys. Just forget about that one. Sentinels do get the kills. That Peacekeeper on the Newcastle is a problem. As we see the zone and look how busy it already is. The teams who are outside of it, Godlike Esports, no surprise, they're running Baby Comp. That's what they do. They take their time. They'll get to purples. They'll get there when they get there. And Ninjas in Pajamas and Falcons, Buckle Boys are the only teams outside of zone at the moment, but Buckle Boys have just snuck in.
One of the important areas is here on the kind of south or east side of the map where Revival are currently holding. They are struggling to get through, and I think a lot of teams are going to find the same way. Falcons and NIP need to make a decision here, because if you try and go for a big old wrap around the side, you will struggle. You're going to get caught in a choke. So instead, you have to go for something a little bit more direct, which isn't going to be comfortable, but if you do it right, manage to force your way through, you'll actually be in a better spot to find yourself in here for the late game.
Also, the Humbert zones, like we saw a little bit earlier on today, they can have some pretty violent pulls to the north or the south, which can put some teams in good positions that maybe
Oh, it's Jad. I was like, what the fuck is this thing, dude? I mean, baffled for a second.
Interesting to see if some teams do try and do that. Teams like Nice Guys and Huss, who are playing on that west side right now, that you're taking a look at. As we see on our POV right now, Huss, Jelly with the wingman in his hand, having a little peek and a little wave at his neighbors. For now, it's friendly.
I mean, it always feels that way when it's in the early games. It's a little bit more friendly, not as much pressure on the line, but suddenly when you're
friendly to point a gun,
just fire a drill through their curtains. But alas, you know, I've had some risky neighbors. They do some dodgy things next door. But when we get to the later games, that's when the nerves start to kick in a little bit more for some of these teams. But these early games, you have to capitalize on them. When there isn't as much nerves, get some big points totals on the board.
Well, this is interesting. This is Falcons and Ninjas in Pajamas. Probably
Checker.
Information here. Nice drill coming in from Vayne. Going to force one player back. So this is a little bit of a scrap at the moment. And with Zone 2 closing, we're going to have to see how this fight takes place and who is going to be the victor of it. Let's jump into the comms of NIP as they try and push onto Falcons.
Sublime. Likewise, buddy.
Broke them out. You have ult pixels? They have Jin.
Only in the building alone. 50, correct.
Okay. Walking up.
One in here.
Okay, I don't have any ults. Okay, want me to pop Jolt pixels and just chill?
Yeah, do it.
Okay, I cannot pop them yet. Where are you? Where are you, Bing? What is he? Okay. Can you kill that guy? Done. Trying. 50 on another.
Offense is getting worked.
Work this guy. I'm selling. I'm popping ulti cells. Please hold. Yeah, please hold. I'm popping both ulti cells. I'm surrendering. Look, right side. 200 me. I'm sorry? Yeah. I'm scanning them right here on low. Watch him slow. Kionos us. Damn point verts on us. I have scanning 3. I'm going back a little bit. Give me a second. Watch him 1 again. Show inside. I'm scanning them. Ult in. I'm picking behind them. Crack one. I'm picking the Q. I'm fighting. Okay.
Oh yeah, cooked himself.
On your back. I got hit by fucking fence, bro.
He cooked himself.
Get out if you can.
Oh, Kurev's gonna win this. Kurev wins these. Oh, he's dead.
Oh, man.
And he's dead too.
They died too, bro. Holy fuck.
Womp womp.
Well, that fight went on so long, all we are left with is Falcons and NIP death boxes inside of the zone. That has not worked out for either team, Dan.
Bizarre. I mean, the call was get out if you can, but just so confident in his own ability, and he took Falcons down with him. Frustrating for both sides, I'm sure, because there was
No house crying right now. What are they doing in the store?
So they could stay alive and pretty. Speaking of being alive, the Dinos get extinct, and Team Liquid are going to be able to stay in this one, get back, and probably res panic back up to a 3. All right, let's take a look back at the map once more. Look at Flat, by the way. Crazy Thieves.
What a shit pull.
Have a really good position to be able to be in this.
Pull into these back houses here.
Old Town right now. Depending on where they try and go, if they can get into this spot kind of here, then they will be able to compete with Crazy Thieves for the late game and probably avoid a lot of the oncoming traffic that's going to arrive later on.
Yeah, I think Liquid will look to play that late.
Yep.
Probably where the zone is going to be pulling.
Yep.
They're going to be in a very, very good position, like you say. Crazy Thieves also going to be able to hold out a lot of the traffic coming in from the northern side of Humber, and for everyone else, it's kind of like, oh, well, how do we get through each other to get anywhere near this end game?
Redeem Toad, you fucking animal. I respect it.
Some sort of playable space in towards the back of the Humber zone, but elsewhere, AG Global.
It's hard for me to find a good primary care doctor at 21 because I have autism and pediatric care ends at 21. Damn, bro. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I hope everything works out for you. You're in America, aren't you, James?
And it just seems like they needed that chemistry back on themselves once more. And they looked, like I said, impressive in scrims. They've looked great so far.
And it's just probably expensive too.
To potentially take regional finals, and it really would be just one of those situations where you have to trust in history and chemistry.
Yeah, chemistry, a very underrated thing. Just how players naturally interact with each other, whether it be in team fights or communication-wise, whatever it might be. One team who does have very good chemistry, and certainly a, shall we say, a penchant for this particular composition is going to be Godlike Esports. They are showing why it's pretty good. Flying into zone. They manage to land as well. They don't get hit by any CQs, which cancel all of those abilities and make them sit in ducks. And they'll be sat up center zone, right in the middle of where they need to be.
Yeah, I actually like that position from Godlike, because not only are they going to be in the next zone, but there's potential they can be gatekeepers and pick up quite a bit of KP from the teams that are going to arrive from that northwest side. That being said, they are going to continue to have to move south. Look where Liquid are. This is what I was saying earlier, what we mentioned. Liquid in one of the best positions. Now they just need to make themselves big and don't allow Crazy Thieves to be able to take that spot away from them.
I wonder if it's going to be that really strange zone that we saw in EMEA a few weeks ago, where it actually pulls onto that back building, onto the shop, where essentially one team wins. I wonder if that's still in play, or if it's going to be something a little bit different. Crazy Thieves now making their rotation towards the back of the zone. This is a position which is going to be pretty good. Don't have a lot of defensive characters outside of the Watson to put up any fake cover, so it's going to be playing around the gen most likely for them. But Hoss playing a little bit split from them at the moment, just trying to see if he can scout out the rest of the lobby and what their moves are going to be. But now we're going to see Shopify.
Yes, sir!
This is the busy side of zone, and some good
yes, sir! Alright, let's go fucking make some of these fucking rocks.
This one arriving from the north, and Shopify Rebellion should be in prime position to clean this one up comfortably. The real question is, can you actually get away and survive? It's an attempt at a cheeky res, but now Shopify Rebellion will punish and delete. Easy as that. Buckle boys out in 16th. No placement point for them, as now we're down to our last 15. But just as they win this one, Shopify Rebellion, suddenly they're going to be under fire. Zone is coming in, and there's a lot of teams that are looking their way.
And this is the other side of the zone, and this is the teams who, are the teams who are now going to have to move. The pullback didn't favor them.
10k runes.
So Huss, Jamie Gaming are all going to have to move down to the south, trying to wrap around towards Team Liquid's position. Liquid, all they have to do really now is watch their wrap through Old Town. If they can
After we get these 10k blood runes made, boys, we're just going to
Zach Mays is going to get a knock on 2 knocked from GK Esports, so an opportunity for them to at least take a little bit of a space.
we're going to
Blue Shields at this point in the game is very
you know, go do an Abbey Demon task.
did a very good game 1, but not so much here.
I should kind of just, maybe I should just use the Botha at the fucking, at the Abyssal Demon. Then it's totally doable. Oh, yo, that ball and that fucking thing was going nuts. What an ult.
1v1. Inside of the knockdowns, Zainu's gonna get right drilled. He has to use his void passage.
Oh, Piston.
The last player, he wins it. But that will be the end of both.
Piston. Oh my.
Rallying around in there. And it did a huge amount of damage.
Shoot through the box. Back up and shoot through the box. Monsoon, just back up and shoot through the box, Monsoon. Monsoon, just back up and shoot through the box.
EWC and Sentinel's trying to secure that for them, really. Fund the last remaining player here. Should be able to get a res. It looks like the last remaining player from Nemesis has just dipped. Oh, and you get killed. Okay. Sentinel gonna survive until now.
Fun's gotta go 1v3, 1v2 maybe, as Monsoon will be back up. And Mon does have that PK, but they get nuked behind that wall. That's going to be the end of them Sentinels. Obliterated in the final moments. The CRT now under a little bit of pressure themselves, trying to work their way towards zone. And look at the space that is being controlled by Team Liquid. ROC will be out next. We're down to just 6 squads.
This is a callback right from where we looked at it almost 5 to 10 minutes ago. Liquid have created so much space here. They bullied any chance of Crazy Thieves wrapping in behind them, and they own the entire zone.
Liquid should win this game.
Touching this next circle right now. You are going to see AG Global, who are going to arrive from the north a little bit, so Liquid do need to be aware of that. They forced Crazy Thieves away, but now they need to group up. You don't want to get isolated.
AG Global inside of zone as well. So it's a fantastic rotation.
Fences the back wall. Interesting. Interesting. I guess for altars, right? But you'd be like through already. Should have put it back a bit. Interesting. Fucking Nocturnal. Lol.
Trying to pop the bat. He's got an L-Star in the back pocket as well as a G7 Scouts, and the man is dressed in red. And if you know anything about being dressed in red recently, you'll know that it wins your titles.
We're saying this would be
He's
a
dead.
very different final circle without Altar, by the way. There's so many walls.
Yeah, look at him go. That's my boy Nocturnal right there. It's 20 damage with like fucking 30, 40, 50 bullets, something like that. That's what we like to see, baby.
As Nice Guys will be eliminated as we're down now to our last 5 here. The circle is going to be closest to Liquid. It is worth noting that, but again, Altar changes everything here, because suddenly your safety, your security has to be protected by fences.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that was actually funnier than fuck. He went to, he went to throw the extra and bounced it off his teammate.
So well up to this point. They would have been licking their lips at the prospect of getting into this final circle, but now you've got to make it count from here. You've got to show why you worked so hard at creating all this space and getting into arguably the best position in the final circle. Yes, it can definitely be countered by someone if they are brave enough to try and push you, but then they probably throw their own game. So it's all about patience here at this point. Composition-wise, very similar across the board. In fact, it is exactly the same across the board. You've got a Maggie, you've got an Altar, and you have a Watson.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Everybody is playing the same composition, so it's going to be about hitting your shots. It's going to be about playing around the abilities you know the other teams are going to have. CRT just lost 1, by the way. Should be a res opportunity, potentially. It was the scout in the hands of Zero that got that knock. And if they continue to put out damage here, Team Liquid, they will force CRT when they have to push to be weakened to the point where it should be a comfortable fight. They've also got AG Global looking at them, and Jaguar as well. He's got himself a scout as well.
I mean, it should be Liquid versus AG Global in this this final fight if they play this one correctly. Crazy Thieves are going to be somewhat isolated here in their position.
Fuck
Hustle is in a
Trudeau.
difficult spot as they rotate round as well.
That guy's
But again,
name.
as you said, a lot of it is going to come down to hitting your shots, but also when do you use your Maggie drill, for example? When do you get a portal out? Is there a position you can take? Can your Watson players create space for you and get that gen down?
I mean, the gen is down. CRT somehow are still alive here, and they're actually going to be in longer now than Huss. So Huss will have to make the play. And that's a scary proposition for Team Liquid because they are closest to Team Liquid. Yanya will actually go and manage to pick up... Excuse me, did Yanya go down? Yanya did go down. He gets pointed back in. They will be able to get the res. CRT now walk up behind that van and that wall. The fences start to go down, and now leaving is difficult. And this was the worry here for Liquid. As Huss will send it onto them, but they manage to hold. They take down Huss.
They managed to hold, and now they just need to try and get that crawl.
Oh,
over.
CRT
Crazy
dead.
Thieves will finally fall to AG, and here's the last two. We knew it would happen. It's the two teams who had the building.
It's a 2v1 now. Last player alive is going to be here. Behind the two knockdown shields, they're going to swing onto it. AG Global cannot hold up the line, and Team Liquid will be your champions of game number 2. That was expertly navigated by them.
Yeah, right from the get-go, as soon as they had that southern side of the zone, they made sure they made themselves big. They bullied Crazy Thieves away throughout the entirety of that game. And then once everyone else started to join them, once it got congested in the area, they picked a building, and boy, did they pick right. It was a bit of a 50-50, I will say, but they were able to get the priority building. And in the end, it was the two that had the buildings that got into that engagement. But in particular, it was surviving against Huss. Being able to keep two up was so...
Alright, gentlemen, I'll be back later. Yeah, I'll start up another stream in a bit. I'll catch you all later. Catch you in a bit. Catch you in a bit. Catch you later.